And now,
breaking news.
Ahoy, the news.
news
From the Weird Wire.
News from the Weird Wire. Here comes the bride getting married without the presence or knowledge of the groom.
Sounds fitting for this program.
Right? When it comes to the part of a wedding, when the officiant asks, is there any reason why these two should not be married? The complete absence of one of them is probably a good clue. Nevertheless, KWKT reports that a man in Beverly Hills, Texas, discovered that he was legally married despite never showing up or even knowing about the wedding. According to police, the man received a package from an ex-girlfriend containing an official marriage certificate, which he allegedly had certified by a pastor. The two were previously in a relationship and had obtained a marriage license, but broke up ahead of the wedding. How does that work? Just because you have a license doesn't mean you're right. I said I don't think in 23 years I've ever heard of anybody who managed somehow to get married to someone who wasn't present for a ceremony, says Beverly Hills Police Chief Corey Martin. Get this, the woman has since been arrested on felony stalking charges.
I'm stunned.
He saw that, I was like, good thing I broke up with her.
Exactly.
You're moving too fast, getting a marriage license already? Nah. He saw the writing on the wall. Intuition.
Unfortunately, he saw the writing on the, hey, you're married certificate.
Motel guest did not want to wait for alligator to be removed. Fairfax County, Virginia, was most certainly disturbed when they spotted an alligator walking outside their room for these motel guests. WJLA reports that the police were called to address the 6-foot-long reptile, which was strolling around at midnight. This is the part. It was later determined that the gator belonged to someone transporting it from New York to North Carolina Zoo.
So you would suspect that someone who's transporting an animal for a zoo would be qualified to do such? Evidently not.
The zoo is closed. Oh, no, they didn't get there yet. So they were on their way to North Carolina, stopped in Virginia. It's against the law in Virginia to own an alligator or to have it as a pet. Both the animal and the owner were safely escorted out of Fairfax County. WJL says, you and your alligator need to leave. You and your gator, out of here. Suppose we'll show up at the zoo early.
Well,
what did he bring the alligator into his room or her room? We don't know.
Well, I'm just assuming that this is a motel where you walk outside of your hotel door and you're outside.
Mm-hmm.
But still, just imagine you open up the door and there's an alligator.
Right.
In the outside hallway. No, thank you.
What do you do?
Call the cops. Who show up and escort said alligator the heck out of town.
At midnight. Because some people are rolling into the motel at midnight because they were having fun. Can you imagine that? Checking your eyes, rubbing them twice. Is that an alligator? Is that an alligator in front of our room door? Well, we don't have that problem in Minnesota. However, I think alligators would like it here in the summer.
Do we have many hotels that are like that where you walk out to your
Open
door
area?
and you're outside? Only one I can think of is Shook's.
Yeah, in smaller towns.
Hopefully you're not finding any alligators in the Shook's motel.
When in Rome, try not to drive down any famous monuments.
There are plenty to choose from.
Right. The Spanish Steps in Rome, briefly turned into a makeshift road for an 80-year-old man. The Associated Press reports that the man got stuck on the famed monument while driving a Mercedes-Benz A-Class sedan. The man was unable to provide an explanation as to how or why he was driving down the Spanish Steps, though he did test negative for alcohol. He's 80. Got a little confused. Firefighters were later called to remove the vehicle by crane.
Well, it's on the steps.
Right.
Yeah.
He lives in the Italian capital, and while the saying goes that when in Rome, do as Romans do, we suggest not doing what this guy did. I just think of all the, I don't know, James Bond or...
All the movies where people are driving down steps.
Yeah, in Italy. Yeah. Motorcycle, the small little foreign job cars. I always think, man, those suspensions are pretty good. It's a movie, Schultze.
And not being driven by an 80-year-old.
You know what made me think? Roundabout. Right?
Ugh.
That's how our 80-year-olds feel when they encounter roundabouts. Stop. What is this? I mean, if you think about it, you're 80 years old. You've been driving for nearly 60 years.
And you shouldn't be anymore.
The only thing you've ever experienced is traffic lights and stop signs. And now you got this thing they call a roundabout.
Or the Spanish Steps.
Poor old guy. I'm sure he was just looking for something to eat. You think it was one of those deals where, like, he dropped his wife off, driving around the block, I'll pick you up as soon as you get your stuff. Just wait for me. So there's no story about her. She's on the other side of the block waiting.
No, just get a fire department and a crane.
So does the fire department have a crane? Couldn't be the first time this has ever happened either. I mean, if this 80-year-old guy... my thing is, there had to be a spot where you're not supposed to go through. He went through, and by it being a monument and that area is a high tourist area, you think somebody like, hey, whoa, 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 you can't go down this road. In Italian, of course. Turn around. Yeah, most people don't drive down steps.
Well, you're not supposed to.
They're designed for foot traffic. Mostly. Entirely. That is news from the Weird Wire.